Everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Sorry about the bad lighting, but it's kind of darker here. It's still the 6th of December here, but the dates actually on this one are the true dates of when this happened. So for Qurban Bayrama, which is Eid al-Adha in Arabic, this is the holiday of sacrifice commemorating, or remembering, I should say, how Abraham, peace and blessings be upon him, was asked by God to sacrifice his son. He tells his son, the Quranic reading is different than the Bible a little bit. He tells his son Ishmael, although, yeah, there's a slight difference of opinion there. But we'll say he tells his son Ishmael about it. And he says, okay, I'm willing to do that for God. They go up. He comes to slaughter him, and then an animal is put there in his stead. And so people slaughter meat. They give a third, for them, a third for family, neighbor, close people, and a third for the poor and the needy. And it's also about the sacrifice of human. I mean, it's really deep, but that's the basic gist of it. So I decided to go away for 5 or 6 days. And the first place we went to was Samsun, which is in the Black Sea. It was a 12-hour-ish bus ride away, including stops and everything. So I'm in Üsküdar, and I go to like Kadıköy or something like that, and wait at the gas station for the bus. It was late. Surprise, surprise, right? Not a big surprise. And the interesting thing was it took so many breaks. I was very surprised. I mean, it stopped so many times in the middle of the night at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I don't know. It just it seemed very inefficient for me. And it would stop in these rest areas where like really booming and bustling. I don't know if these are the right words, but there were so many people there at like 2 a.m. There's coffee, there's tea, there's food, there's sweets, there's presents in case I guess you forgot to buy some. There's fruits, there's just everything. It was very interesting, and it was just so bright. It was like it wasn't even 2 a.m. there. It was like maybe 6 p.m. Because over here at about like 5 p.m. it's already dark. It's already past sunset. When it was morning prayer time, which is Fajr or Sabah namaz as they say in Turkey, so I got up and I went to make my abdest, which is wudu, or the ablution that you do. And I just barely made it, just used the bathroom, did that. I mean, only 2 or 3 minutes. They were stopping to fill up gas. I came back, and they were already, like, about to leave. I was the last person on there, and I was like, can I please pray? Do I have time for that? And so they said, no, you have to get on the bus. So I got on the bus, and I said, okay, I'll pretend this is not a Muslim majority country. I'll pretend like I'm in the U.S. or something, and I'll just pray while sitting down on the bus. So I did that, and what was really interesting is the guy sitting next to me who spoke in the most slurred Turkish ever. Everyone was laughing at him. He might have been drunk. I don't think so. I didn't smell alcohol in his breath. He might have had some sort of speech impediment. I don't know, but it was very hard for me to understand his Turkish. So, we're leaving, and he's like, where are you going? I was like, oh, I'm going to go pray. And so he says, Allah kabul etsin, which means may your prayer be accepted, and he just went the other way. I just thought that was funny. But I don't know if he prayed or not. Who am I to judge him, right? It's not my job or my duty. So, I mean, but I wasn't really annoyed because, again, whatever. I just pretended like I was in any other country, if you want to pray, you can pray. It was a beautiful morning, and so I left on the 15th at night, and I arrived on the 16th in the morning. So in the morning is when they pray the Eid prayer or the Bayram namazı. I'm guessing that's what it is, just on the Turkish I know, but I didn't hear. So it's the holiday prayer, and this is it's an optional prayer actually, although very, very encouraged. I mean, in the school that I follow, it's almost an obligation. It's very high in its importance. But still, it's not as important as the morning prayer, which I missed. So I thought it was ironic that we stopped for that prayer, even though it's less important in terms of Islamic law. But maybe it's more a cultural thing. I don't know. There are many possibilities. But it was just so beautiful. We were driving between mountains, right, on the northern in northern Turkey, and there's this fog, there's dew, there's chill, there's forest. It was so beautiful. My camera wasn't good enough to capture it for you, but I tried. Okay, I tried my best. It's not a very good camera, but I took pictures. I did. Now we stop for this holiday prayer, I'll say, and I enter the jami and I hear the typical. This is something I didn't talk about, but if there are open spots in front, I don't believe in pushing people out of the way. It's like you kind of miss the purpose of prayer if you're pushing people or being rude. But there were plenty of open spots in the front row, and it's something that has a very high reward. So I start walking over there, and I hear these people going. I've heard it more than once. I heard it at the Ayub Jami, which I spoke about in the last post as well. And I'm just so surprised. My friend, what he did, he just turned around and he just looked at the guy. I wanted to turn around and be like, please, you could go up if you want. I'm not pushing anybody. But I don't know why it's frowned upon. If anybody knows, please do let me know. I mean, because I wasn't pushing anyone. There was open space. I didn't block anyone. I was just confused. I was like, why are you scolding me for that? So we enter, and the speech is coming from a loudspeaker, and we're all just sitting there. I mean, it's just so weird. Hundreds of men are just sitting there and listening to the speech from this loudspeaker. Something was being transmitted to us remotely. Honestly, and I'm sorry, but these are the things that come to mind when I see that. I think of Soviet Russia. I think of communist China. I think of Nazi Germany and their propaganda loudspeakers. I'm sorry, this is the first thing that comes to mind. And just the sound quality, and we're there in the mountains and it's cold. It's like, it was just so reminiscent of that for me. Not really reminiscent because I didn't live during that time, but, just my mental image. That's the first thing I thought of. And then that stopped, and I'm guessing it's some sort of government thing. Again, the role of the government in controlling religion here. So we did a few takbirat, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Now in America, except for one in Denver, usually we go on for 30 minutes or 40 minutes before the prayer, and it's wonderful, and we're sitting there and we're praising God, and it's wonderful, and it's very long, and it's musical, and we just get together. It's so fun, and you pass the mic to different people. If their voices are better, they beautify their voices. Here, it was just very short. They didn't say everything that we say in America, usually. So it was just the basic Allahu Akbar, basically. And we heard a very short speech. Guess who wrote the speech? Yeah, surprise, surprise. And then we just left. Everyone just got up. It was very uneventful, very atypical of my Eid experience, my holiday experience. I did appreciate one thing, that after the prayer, everyone sat silently. They didn't even move a muscle, and they just listened to the speech. But it also was strangely, I don't know, it was just weird. Everyone just was sitting there. Now, usually there are kids screaming and people's going out, and it's very annoying in America. But this was the exact opposite. So I appreciated that, but it's strange. No woman seemed present at all. Even in the women's area above, they were all men there. I heard they don't go to Eid prayer here, which is much different from the U.S. I mean, where it's like, come on, everybody, just come on, bring your family, bring your kids, wives, everyone. So, yeah, I prefer the America one. And so I'm dead tired. I've only had about an hour of sleep on the bus because I can't sleep on buses very well. And this hour is split up over 4 different times of me falling asleep and waking up and my neck hurting. The guy next to me trying to start a conversation in slurred Turkish that I don't even understand, and I'm just like, please stop talking to me. I don't understand you. Let me just read. I did get a lot of reading done, which was good. But I was invited to go see the slaughtering, and so this is my first time ever seeing slaughtering like live in person, and this animal sacrifices. And so I said, you know what, this is a rare opportunity. Let's do it. So we drive up. We're in Samsun, the city proper, and we go to a nearby village. It's not that far away. It was only like 20 minutes. We're there, and it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing. These people treated the animals so humanely, with such care. It wasn't like anything I had heard before. They pet the animal. They were careful about it. It was a bull and a ram that I saw being slaughtered, and I saw a cow being skinned, after being slaughtered, of course, being skinned, and, all its meat being chopped up and divided into those parts. Because, people can't usually afford a whole cow, so they kind of get together with other people and they split it maybe 6 ways or 12 ways, different things like this. And from my understanding of Islam, you're not even supposed to slaughter other animals in front of each other, or let them hear any sound that comes from the slaughtering, or even sharpen your knife in front of it. One guy was kind of sharpening like 30 feet away from one of the animals that was getting ready to be slaughtered, and another person took him aside and he turned around and he said, don't do that in front of the animal. You shouldn't startle it or scare it. You should be merciful and compassionate. I just loved that. The bull, they tried to get it down and it didn't fall down and it just started shaking. And the main guy, he just pushed everyone away and he just pet it and he said, leave it alone, let it calm down. The ram ran away, right? All these kids start chasing it down. One of my friends chased it down and it came back and it was shaking. They gave it water and cabbage and they just started petting it and they said, let it calm down. You can't slaughter it when it's scared. This is inhumane. And so for people, now you could say don't slaughter animals at all. That's fine. I understand your views and I respect them. But for people who do eat meat, this seems like the best way. Yeah, you can't stick them into the factories and mass produce all this stuff and make tons of money like the corporations do, but I think this is the best way to do it. So I met this Turkish guy who was on the famous flotilla, the one that went to Gaza or Gaza, and they were a lot of them were a few of them were killed by Israeli soldiers and they were beat. And it's a very famous thing. If you haven't heard about it, please do search YouTube. There's footage. Search the internet. Find out about it. It's a pretty big issue. And this guy was like, he led one of the prayers. He was so nice, but he was like a tough guy. He was a tough guy too, even though he was, kind of nice and soft. And soft. That's not a good adjective. Anyways, they had fresh homemade baklava. I don't know if you've ever had it, but it's delicious. It's so good. And so everyone's hands were dirty cleaning, and he would just go around and like pop it in your mouth, and it was just so cool. So he fed me baklava. Yes, one guy who was on the flotilla, a Turkish guy from the Black Sea, one of the Black Sea people. So and they got all these jokes about the Black Sea people in Turkey apparently as well. So there's a difference, I think, also between slaughtering in the city and slaughtering in the village. So I told you about being in Cairo, being in Alexandria last year, and there was blood on the streets. That was not cool, and it would just stay there for a few days, and it would just be red, and it would smell really bad. I don't know. They need to figure out something to do. I don't know what. I don't have solutions, but I'm just saying that it's better in the village. And they would cover up everything with soil. They would take the intestines and the stomach and they would dig a big hole and put it in there so it didn't smell bad. They covered it up and it was just really nice. I also realized that I need to learn how to slaughter. I need to learn how to skin an animal and butcher my own meat. Not every single time, but I need to do that. I mean, look, if you're gonna eat meat, you should feel comfortable doing that. Otherwise, this whole just go to the grocery store and animals come from there, it's not, I don't know, it's just not cool. We need to be in touch with nature and with these animals and realize, their value and treat them with mercy and respect. Unfortunately, nowadays we're just so far away from the whole process. So yeah, it's really cool. A lot of these guys that come together, they work on this meat. It's a whole day event. This is their thing. It's different from America. Well, not all, depending on who you are. But if you're in the suburbs like I was, it's really nice. Although I just question the presence of some younger children. Some kids were like poking the eye of a dead cow, and I just thought that was sick and disturbing. And it's like you're being desensitized to this. And so at a certain age, I think it's good, but for a lot of these kids, it just wasn't cool. I wouldn't take kids there. Those are just my personal views. So Samsun is the city where Atatürk started the revolution or uprising, whatever you want to call it. Depends. You have to see the history and was it really a revolution against what? Was there really colonialism in Turkey? So, anyways, there's a big statue of him. It looks really nice. Lots of improvement there. They just put a tramvay. Now, dondurma, the ice cream, right? Guess how much it was in Samsun? It was 1 lira, not 5. Yes. That's crazy. Big difference. I saw some Amazon statues. Apparently there were supposed to be some Amazon ladies. Is it really true? Is it not? Read the Wikipedia and just read up more on it. Or did they really exist? I also saw some old tombs from 330 to 300 BC. So that was very interesting. So Samsun was cool, and then that night I ate fresh meat and it was delicious.